assignment, I will be discussing the history and the meaning behind the coronation ceremony that occurs when crowning a new sovereign in the United Kingdom, and the performance and material culture that are involved. This ceremony dates back to 1066 for William the Conqueror, and Britain is currently the only monarchy left in Europe that still holds coronations. This ritual is filled with symbolism and customs that have grown and evolved and changed to reflect the individual monarchs and their hopes and desires for their nation. It also ensures tradition is followed and maintained. The coronation is an example of performative folklore, as it is a religious ritual that marks the start of a new era in British history. Incorporated into the traditional aspects is the material culture based on these crown jewels. An example of this material culture is St. Edward's crown, initially constructed in the 11th century for Edward the Confessor. Still, after King John lost his crown jewels at sea, something else was needed to be used for the coronation of his son, King Henry III. At this time, King Edward I had recently been canonized and declared a saint, which meant any object connected to him then became a holy relic. St. Edward was buried in his full regalia. He was then exhumed, his crown, scepter, and ring and the rest of his regalia were taken to be used for the future generations. His crown was used up until the English Civil War against King Charles I, where he was beheaded and Oliver Cromwell took control over England as its Lord Protector and tried to make England a republic. During this time, Cromwell sold off the crown jewels and melted them down to make coins. After his death, the monarchy was restored, and the replicas of the crown jewels were made as closely as anyone could remember to the originals for the coronation of King Charles II in 1661. Just this last year, we witnessed the first coronation in over 70 years with the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla on May 6, 2023. This event was celebrated across the UK and the Commonwealth. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered to witness this historical event, and tens of thousands of people filled the streets of London from all across the globe, despite the cold, rainy forecast for the day. And according to the BBC, over 18 million people watched this event live. I was fortunate enough to be one of the lucky people who were able to fly to London to witness this historical event for myself, and it truly was a once-in-a-lifetime occasion. Well, maybe twice in a lifetime, given the fact the king is 75 years old. Preparations for the coronation first began, it invoked the question, especially amongst taxpayers, of what is the purpose of a medieval-style ceremony in this day and age, especially when every other European monarchy has shifted away from it. Beyond the importance of tradition, the coronation also serves as a unifying symbol for the Commonwealth. Speaking from my own personal experience at the coronation, one of my favorite parts of the trip was meeting other people who had also flown in for the event. We were waiting on the streets of London from 2 a.m, waiting for the Diamond State coach to leave the gates of Buckingham Palace and begin its journey to Westminster Abbey, where all but one coronation had been held. While we waited, we became acquainted with the people around us. We met a military veteran from Wales who taught us all about the different battalions that marched by. We met a religion teacher from Australia who taught us all about how the Patriarch of Jerusalem made the holy oil for King Charles, as well as countless other Canadians. There was something surreal about seeing all of the 56 flags of countries that have the king as their head of state lining the road that marked the journey that His Majesty would take before being crowned. It invoked a sense of community and belonging, even for those who do not live in the United Kingdom. Fun fact for Canadians, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police were the ones who led the procession coming back from the Abbey, as seen in the top left photo. And the horses that pulled the king's carriage were also a gift from the RCMP to His Majesty for the coronation. Over the last 1,000 years, there have been 40 coronation ceremonies held for the monarchs of England, 39 of which have taken place in Westminster Abbey. The primary parts of the coronation are the recognition, the oath, the anointing, the investiture, and the homage. These parts have remained part of every single coronation ceremony since King William I. Aside from being the sovereign, every monarch since King Henry VIII has also been titled Head of the Church of England and Protector of the Faith. Due to this, the coronation ceremony is a religious celebration. A monarch is not appointed, but anointed. While tradition and culture have always been the main focus when planning began, this does not mean that every coronation ceremony has been the same. Every monarch has changed and modified things to suit the vision that they have of their reign better. The most drastic of these changes has been seen by King Charles III. It is well known that the king has a desire for a more slimmed-down monarchy than what was caught under the reigns of his ancestors. This translated to the coronation ceremony for him only lasting 1 hour, in contrast to his mother, Queen Elizabeth II's coronation, which lasted for over 3 hours. When doing research for this assignment, the best primary source I found was Queen Victoria's journals. Throughout her life, Queen Victoria kept hundreds of journals, and one that survives to this day is from the day of her coronation. where she described the entire day from her perspective, even down to how once she returned home from the Abbey, she ran upstairs to give her dog, Dash, a bath, even while still in her robes. Being able to read this first-hand account from the Queen herself has provided me with so much more insight into the ceremony than I could have ever hoped to achieve on my own simply from watching the event live from the streets of London. Here are my sources, as well as the citations for the pictures used.